Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Amanda Green and I'm a couples counselor. Today we're diving into the sixth core principle of an interdependent relationship from my new book, The Butterfly Blueprint. Revitalize your relationship and keep your heart fluttering forever. Chapter 10 is all about wholeness. Now, wholeness is one of those words we throw around a lot. But what does it really mean in the context of a relationship? Here's the thing. A lot of us grew up with the idea that being whole means being completely self-reliant. Like we should achieve everything on our own and need no one else to complete us. And yes, independence is important. But here's the reality. Human beings are actually wired for connection. Studies on attachment theory show that our ability to connect as adults is shaped by the bonds we form with our primary caregivers in childhood. These early bonds shape our attachment style, but we can also become more securely attached through healthy adult relationships. So here's the twist. To really become whole, we actually need each other. Picture a tree. It has both branches and roots to grow tall and strong. Or think about a butterfly. It needs both sets of wings working together to fly. Wholeness isn't just about me or you. It's about us and how we support each other's growth. Dr. Harville Hendricks, who founded Imago Relationship Therapy, talks about this idea that our partners are like mirrors, reflecting back parts of us we may not even realize are there. Sometimes hidden parts that need healing or just understanding. So in a way, being in a relationship is this amazing opportunity. It's like your partner is holding up a mirror, helping you see what's inside you that you might never have noticed on your own. Think about it for a second. You can't see your own face without a mirror, right? We go through life seeing the world from our own point of view, from the inside looking out. But we're kind of missing the outside perspective on ourselves. That's where your partner comes in, reflecting back truths about your roots, helping you grow into a more complete version of yourself. And this mirror goes both ways. It's like that overlapping part in a Venn diagram, the space where two unique people come together. Now it's so easy to look at your partner's actions and analyze them like a detective, right? But we're often way less eager to take a hard look at our own actions. I see this all the time in counseling. Partners can put each other in the hot seat, but are way less open to turning that same spotlight on themselves. Your partner's feedback gives you valuable insights into who you are. It's like a roadmap, highlighting things you might want to work on and things to celebrate about yourself too. And that's why relationships are so important. They're like mini self-discovery labs where you grow and learn about yourself in ways you never would on your own. Let's make it real with some examples. So there's Catherine. She's hurt because she feels Aaron doesn't prioritize her, but she hasn't realized that she also tends to put herself last. His actions reflect something about her own sense of self-worth. Or take Ming, who's frustrated with Laura's critical approach, not seeing that her words echo his own inner self-criticism. Then there's Sophie, who thinks that Matt is distant, but if she looked a little closer, she might notice her own guardedness. And Rachel resents Mahir for seeking validation from others without realizing she has her own quiet need for approval. Relationships are where we get to bring these hidden parts to the surface. Instead of trying to fix our partner, it's really about looking inward. And when we do that, We're no longer just two people. We're two people working toward wholeness together. Now, in relationships, we often find ourselves in what I call the internal-external duality dilemma. Here's what I mean. One partner might be really focused on their inner world, their emotions, needs, beliefs, while the other is all about keeping things functional and harmonious on the outside. When each person is stuck on their side of this duality, they can't really reach wholeness. There's the disconnect between what's real for one on the inside and what's actually happening on the outside. And that gap, it just fuels misunderstandings. Picture Catherine, who gets caught up in her emotions. When she feels unheard, she might react intensely, focusing on her inner truth so much that she doesn't notice how she impacts Aaron. For her, what's happening inside is the reality that needs to be validated. But that intensity can overwhelm Aaron, who might feel like she's bringing chaos into the relationship space. Then you have someone like Laura, who often takes a critical approach. For her, truth is about analyzing and finding solutions, often prioritizing clarity over emotional sensitivity. But sometimes this approach sidesteps real feelings, hers and Ming's. This can create a dynamic where Ming feels constantly judged or misunderstood, leading to unaddressed resentment. When each partner is stuck on just their side of this internal-external coin, it's easy to get into arguments where neither feels truly seen or heard. Both cling to their side, one based on internality, the other on externality, and miss that they need both perspectives to reach wholeness. That's where our 3 practices come in to help us out. The first practice in achieving wholeness is to face your fears. Face the core fears that fuel self-protective defenses and block connection with your partner. Not fears that keep you safe, but fears that block your growth, like fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of losing control, or fear of conflict, just to name a few. Facing these fears means confronting an adversary deeply rooted in human nature, our ego. Our ego seeks pleasure and avoids pain, often protecting its own interests at the expense of others. Remember the chocolate love approach we discussed in chapter 1? The ego harbors fears related to status, fearing it might not be superior, or worse, that it's actually inferior. This need to maintain a certain self-image can show up in all sorts of ways, like power struggles, defensiveness, or stubbornness. Take Rachel, for example. She resents Mahir for seeking validation from others, which triggers her fear of not being enough in his eyes. By facing this fear, Rachel can see that her reaction is rooted in her own insecurities, allowing her to confront her true enemy within, her ego that lives in fear for itself, rather than resenting Mahir. Your true adversary isn't your partner. It's the human ego, a shared enemy that subtly divides you by pushing each of you to prioritize self-interest over connection. By recognizing the ego as a common opponent, couples can work together to overcome this internal barrier, fostering a partnership grounded in mutual care rather than self-preservation. The second practice in attaining wholeness is to integrate the parts of your personality that live inside of you and often conflict with each other. Each of us contains multiple inner parts that contribute to who we are. Some parts take dominant roles while others are more hidden, and they usually mirror the dynamics we face in our relationships. It's common to have inner parts that attack, other inner parts that defend. Like one part that says, I'm being selfish, and another part that pushes back saying, I deserve to be put first. Many people express feeling a battle inside. Integrating these parts means acknowledging all of them, even the ones we're not proud of, and making room for them, befriending them, and helping them to work together, perhaps with the support of a counselor. The inner balance you attain eventually reflects outwardly, creating healthier dynamics in your relationship. Sophie, for instance, finds herself feeling hurt when Matt seems distant. But if she integrates her parts, she might realize her own tendency to guard her emotions. By acknowledging and accepting these parts inside of her, Sophie can gain more inner balance, which will allow her to approach Matt from a place of stability rather than anxiety or fear. Doing one's inner work doesn't mean that you're the bad guy. The true adversary is the ego, the part of us that is for one's self alone. Remember, everyone has an ego because nature made us this way, so it's nobody's fault. Our work is to rise above it by integrating the fragmented parts of ourselves, finding compassion and wholeness within. The third practice is to complement each other. Complement with an E, not compliment with an I. To complement your partner means to recognize and appreciate each other's strengths and weaknesses, finding ways to balance each other out and create a partnership where both of you feel encouraged and supported. It's essential to remember that your partner is not the enemy or the bad guy. Again, the real challenge lies in the egoistic part of human nature that we all share. This isn't anyone's fault. Recognizing this helps us approach our partner with a different attitude, one of connection and mutual benefit. When we see our partner as a teammate rather than an adversary, we foster an environment of support and shared growth, strengthening the bond that holds us together. It's about creating a nurturing environment where you're both actively invested in each other's well-being, turning the overlapping space into a sanctuary of support, not competition. Ming, for example, feels frustrated with Laura's critical approach, but by choosing to complement rather than conflict, he can support her need for clarity while she learns to soften her approach. This creates a middle ground where both feel seen and valued, transforming tension into growth. Again, relationships are like mini laboratories where we learn about ourselves and what it means to truly connect and incorporate in each other's lives. Our partners aren't adversaries. They're gifts, helping us become more complete, integrated individuals within a mutually enriching relationship. That's it for our discussion on wholeness. If you found this helpful, please like, comment, and share. Thank you so much for joining me today. Next time, we'll dive into Chapter 11, all about intimacy. I can't wait to meet with you again. Bye for now.